You're safe now. The words landed against her ear at the exact moment her legs finally gave out. Amani didn't ease into his arms. She crashed into them, soaked, shaking, breath broken, hands clutching the front of his coat like the ground had disappeared beneath her. Her forehead pressed into his chest, and she stayed there, unmoving, as if lifting her head might pull the world apart again. Behind her, footsteps skidded to a stop. Not because the man chasing her had run out of breath, but because he knew where he was standing. Rain hammered the dockyard, bouncing off steel containers and concrete, but the space between them fell unnaturally quiet. Amani didn't turn around. She didn't need to. She felt the shift, the moment the hunt ended and something far more dangerous took its place. "You're safe now," the man said again. "Come." Certain. She believed him before she understood why. If you're drawn to stories where one sentence changes everything, subscribe now. Like the video, follow the channel, and stay with us, because the man holding her isn't a savior, and the one she's running from isn't finished yet. Amani's hands were still clenched when the black sedan door opened beside them. "Get in," the man said. He didn't tighten his grip on her, didn't rush her. He simply angled his body, subtle, deliberate, shielding her from the rain and from the figure standing 10 steps away, frozen under a flickering dock light. She got in. The door shut. The car pulled away. Only then did she realize she was crying. Not loudly, not dramatically, just silent tears slipping down her face as her body tried to remember how to breathe. She wiped at her cheeks angrily, embarrassed by the sound her chest kept making. The man sat beside her, posture relaxed, gaze forward. He didn't look at her, didn't ask her name, didn't offer comfort that would feel like a lie. The city lights slid past the tinted windows, warped by rain. "You shouldn't have run there," he said. Her jaw tightened. "I didn't ask for your help." "I know." "Then why?" Because he wasn't bluffing this time. Her stomach dropped. She stared at the seat in front of her. "You don't know him." "I know men who don't chase," the man replied. "They retrieve." She swallowed hard. "What's your name?" she asked. "Kong Min Jae." It didn't ring any bells. It should have reassured her. It didn't. They passed through Busan's edge without slowing. Industrial roads, silent warehouses, the harbor stretching black and endless to the right. Cars moved aside without horns or hesitation. Not fear exactly. Recognition. Amani noticed everything. Trauma had sharpened her awareness to a painful edge. "Where are you taking me?" she asked. "Somewhere he won't reach you tonight." Tonight. The word hung between them like a thin thread. "And tomorrow?" Min Jae turned slightly, finally meeting her eyes. "That depends on how honest you are with me." Her chest tightened. "About what?" "About how far he's willing to go." The gate rose out of the dark like it had always been there. Tall, unmarked, silent. It opened before the car stopped. Amani's pulse spiked. She reached for the handle without thinking. Min Jae didn't grab her wrist. He didn't raise his voice. "If you step out," he said calmly, "you'll be visible for 7 seconds before someone pulls you back into a car. It won't be mine." Her hand froze. The gate closed behind them with a final metallic sound. Inside, the compound was lit with intention. Not bright, not dim. Men moved through it without speaking. No one stared. No one questioned. Everyone knew who Min Jae was. She felt it in the space people gave him. In the way no one looked directly at her for more than a second. The room he led her into was simple. Bed. Window. Table. No decoration. No warmth. Temporary by design. He placed a towel and folded clothes on the bed. "Shower," he said. "Eat after." She stared at him. "You think you can just tell me what to do?" "I think you're exhausted," he replied. "And panic will make you careless." He turned to leave. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. He paused at the door. "Because men like him don't stop unless someone stronger tells them to." "And you're stronger," she challenged. Min Jae glanced back. "Tonight, yes." The door closed. Under the water, Amani finally collapsed. Her knees hit the tile and she slid down the wall, one hand pressed to her mouth to muffle the sound that broke out of her chest. Her body trembled like it was still running. Heart racing, muscles tight, mind replaying the dock, the footsteps, the moment she almost didn't make it. No shouting. No fists on the door. No voice demanding she come back. The silence hurt more than the noise ever had. When she came out, wrapped in unfamiliar clothes, the smell of food pulled at her stomach. She hadn't realized how hungry she was. Min-jae stood by the window, phone to his ear. "Yes," he said quietly. "I want eyes only. No contact." He ended the call and turned. "They're looking for him," Amani said. "They're watching him," Min-jae corrected. Her throat tightened. "You said he wouldn't reach me." "He won't. Not here." "What about outside?" "That depends on what you do next." She laughed once, sharp and humorless. "You think I chose any of this?" "I think you survived it," he said. "That matters." They ate in silence. The food grounded her, slowed her shaking. But her thoughts stayed sharp, circling danger. "What happens now?" she asked. Min-jae set his chopsticks down. "Now, you tell me everything. Tomorrow. And if I don't, then I stop protecting you." Her breath caught. "Just like that." "Yes." The honesty in it scared her more than threats ever had. She stood abruptly, panic flaring. "I can't go back." "You're not," Min-jae said. "How do you know?" Because if she went back, he'd lose control of the situation. And Min-jae didn't lose control. She stepped toward him without thinking and grabbed his coat, fingers digging in like she might fall again if she let go. Her voice broke. "I won't survive him." Min-jae didn't embrace her. He didn't pull away. He simply stayed where he was, solid and unmoving, until her breathing slowed. "You're safe here," he said quietly. And for the first time, the words didn't feel like a promise. They felt like a warning. Outside the compound, rain washed the streets clean. A black SUV idled beneath a dead streetlight. Inside it, Darius leaned back, smiling faintly as he stared at the closed gate in the distance. "She always thinks someone else can save her," he said. His phone buzzed. He ignored it. "Let's see how long this one lasts." If you're still here, don't leave now. Like the video, subscribe, and follow, because tomorrow, she learns who Kang Min-jae really is, and why crossing him ends things permanently. Morning came quietly. Too quietly. Amani woke before the light reached the room, her body trained to expect impact before peace. For a few seconds she lay still, listening, heart racing, breath shallow, waiting for the sound that never came. No door slamming. No voice calling her name like it owned her. No footsteps pacing outside the room. Just the low hum of distant generators and the muted crash of waves beyond the compound walls. She sat up slowly, confused by the absence of fear. That should have been her first warning. Min-jae was already awake. He stood on the balcony overlooking the harbor, coat draped neatly over one arm, phone pressed to his ear. From where Amani stood in the doorway, she could only hear his side of the conversation. "No," he said. Pause. "Because if I move first, he panics." Another pause. "Yes. I'm certain." He ended the call and didn't turn around. "You don't sleep much," Amani said. Min-jae faced the water. "I sleep when there's nothing to lose." Her stomach tightened. "Is that supposed to reassure me?" "It's supposed to prepare you." She joined him on the balcony, the cold air biting through the borrowed clothes. The city looked distant from here. Small, almost harmless. "He won't come here," she said. It wasn't a question. It was something she needed to believe. "No," Min-jae replied. "He won't." The way he said it felt final. Not comforting. Final. They talked later. Not about feelings. Not about healing. Facts. Where she met Darius. How long she stayed. The way he apologized after the first time. The way apologies slowly turned into rules. Min-jae listened without interruption. No reaction. No judgment. Just attention. When she finished, her throat felt raw. "He doesn't want me back because he loves me," she said quietly. "He wants me back because I left." "Yes," Min-jae agreed. "Men like him see abandonment as theft." "And you?" she asked. "What do you see it as?" Min-jae looked at her then, really looked at her. "A liability," he said. The honesty stunned her. "You're not saying that to be cruel," she realized. "No. You're saying it because you mean it." "Yes." Something in her chest tightened. Not hurt, but understanding. Safety here wasn't kindness. It was calculation. And calculations could change. The first crack appeared before noon. A car breached the outer perimeter. It didn't explode. It didn't ram the gate. It simply stopped. Min-jae was already moving when the alert came through. "Stay inside," he said to Amani without breaking stride. She followed anyway, stopping just short of the window overlooking the entrance. A man stood beside the car, hands raised, posture loose, face calm. Too calm. A messenger. Min-jae stepped into view, flanked by two men. The messenger smiled. "He says hello." Min-jae didn't respond. "He says he understands you're protecting something that doesn't belong to you." Amani's breath caught. "He says it's inconvenient, but fixable." Min-jae's expression didn't change. "Leave." The messenger shrugged. "He asked me to give you this first." He set a phone on the hood of the car and slid it forward. Amani recognized it instantly. Her phone. The screen lit up. A video. She didn't press play. She didn't need to. Her hands trembled as the realization sank in. "He followed me here," she whispered. Min-jae turned slightly, not enough for the messenger to notice. "No," he said quietly. "He followed me." The car left. The compound returned to its controlled silence. But something fundamental had shifted. Min-jae didn't speak for a long time. Neither did Amani. Finally, she said, "He's testing you." "Yes." "Will he stop?" Min-jae looked at the closed gate. "No." The words sat between them like a countdown. That night, the rain returned. Harder this time. Amani stood by the window, watching the water blur the lights beyond the walls. For the first time since she arrived, the compound felt smaller. Contained. Temporary. "You're thinking about leaving," Min-jae said behind her. She turned. "I'm thinking about what happens if I stay." He studied her carefully. "And you don't protect things that become too expensive," she said. A corner of his mouth lifted. Not in amusement, but recognition. "You learn quickly. So this ends one of two ways," she continued. "You hand me over, or you escalate." "Yes. And escalation for you means blood." Min-jae didn't deny it. Her voice dropped. "How many people die if you choose me?" Silence. That answer was worse than any number. If you're still watching, stay with us. Like the video, subscribe, and follow, because this is the point where every choice begins to cost something. And no one walks away clean. The second message came at dawn. This one wasn't subtle. A body was left near the harbor, one of Min-jae's peripheral men. Not important enough to start a war. Important enough to send a message. Amani saw it on Min-jae's face before anyone spoke. "This is because of me," she said. "This is because of him," Min-jae corrected. "But you're the excuse." She stepped closer. "Then stop." He looked down at her. "Stop what?" "Protecting me." Min-jae's jaw tightened, not in anger, but restraint. "If I stop now, he learns fear works. And if you don't, he learns I'm willing to burn cities." Her chest ached. "I didn't want this." "I know." That was the first time he said it like regret. By evening, the compound felt like a held breath. Men moved faster. Phones buzzed constantly. Plans overlapped. Amani sat alone on the bed, the weight of it all pressing down. Safety had never lasted this long before. Maybe that was the problem. She stood. Left the room. No one stopped her. Min-jae found her at the edge of the compound, staring out at the water. "I can end this," she said without turning. He joined her, posture rigid. "Not the way you think. If I go to him," she continued, "he stops pushing you." Min Jae's voice dropped. "And what happens to you?" She swallowed. "That's the price." He stared at her, really stared, like he was trying to calculate something that refused to be reduced to numbers. "You think sacrificing yourself fixes this," he said. "I think it limits the damage." Silence stretched. Then Min Jae said something she hadn't expected. "You trust me?" "Yes," she answered immediately. "And you think that trust makes you safe?" She hesitated. He stepped closer. "It doesn't. It makes you dangerous." Her breath caught. "Because if he takes you," Min Jae continued, "I don't stop." The words weren't a threat. They were a promise. That night, Min Jae made his choice. Not the one that saved the most lives. The one that felt inevitable. Far across the city, Darius watched the harbor from a high-rise window, phone pressed to his ear. "She won't last," he said calmly. "No one ever does." He smiled. What he didn't know, what no one knew yet, was that tragedy had already chosen its shape. And it wasn't finished with any of them. If you're still here, don't turn away now. Subscribe, like, and follow, because in the next chapter, protection becomes obsession, and safety turns into the very thing that destroys them. The first gunshot didn't echo. It was swallowed by rain, by distance, by the city's refusal to notice one more sound in the dark. But Min Jae felt it. He stood very still in the center of the operations room, eyes fixed on the screen that had just gone black. "Say it again," he said. The man on the other end of the line swallowed. "We lost the vehicle. Harbor route. No survivors." Min Jae closed his eyes. Not in grief, not in shock. In calculation. "How long?" he asked. 6 minutes. 6 minutes. That was all it took to change the shape of everything. Amani didn't hear the shot. She felt the silence afterward. The compound had gone too quiet. No footsteps, no murmured conversations, no hum of controlled motion. Just tension pressing against the walls like a held breath. She stood slowly, heart pounding, and stepped into the corridor. Men moved past her without meeting her eyes. That had never happened before. She followed the sound of voices until she reached the operations room. The door was half open. Min Jae stood inside, hands braced on the table, shoulders rigid. She had never seen him like that. Not calm, not distant, contained, but barely. "What happened?" she asked. He didn't answer immediately. When he did, his voice was steady, but something underneath it had shifted. "He killed one of mine." Her stomach dropped. "Because of me?" "No," Min Jae said. "Because I hesitated." She stepped closer. "You didn't." "I did," he replied. "I waited to see if he would stop." She stared at him. "And now?" Min Jae straightened. "Now," he said quietly, "I don't wait anymore." The city felt different after that. Sharper. Smaller. Amani noticed it as Min Jae escorted her to a safer wing of the compound. Deeper, more secure. Doors closed behind them with heavier locks. Men took up positions they hadn't before. "This is temporary," Min Jae said. "Until what?" she asked. "Until he understands." Her voice dropped. "Or until he's dead." Min Jae didn't answer. That was answer enough. That night, Amani couldn't sleep. Not because she was afraid of Darius, but because she was afraid of Min Jae. Not of what he might do to her, but of what he was willing to do for her. Safety had turned into something tighter. Heavier. She realized then that protection and possession were closer than she'd ever wanted to admit. Min Jae crossed the first line just before dawn. Not loudly. Not violently. He made a call. One call. Calm. Precise. Devastating. By sunrise, 3 of Darius's financial channels had frozen. 2 allies had disappeared. A meeting scheduled for noon would never happen. It wasn't revenge. It was pressure. and pressure always demanded response. Darius laughed when he heard. "Good," he said, leaning back in his chair. "I was getting bored." He turned to the man beside him. "He thinks he's protecting her." The man hesitated. "And if he's not?" Darius smiled faintly. "Then he'll learn what it costs." By midday, the city buzzed. Not publicly. Quietly. Underground. Rumors spread fast when powerful men stopped being careful. Amani felt it when Min Jae finally came to her room. "You're moving," he said. Her chest tightened. "Where?" "Somewhere he won't expect." "And if I say no?" Min Jae looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, she saw it. Fear. Not of Darius. Of losing control. "You won't," he said. That scared her more than if he'd threatened her. They left before sunset. A convoy this time. No subtlety. No hiding. Amani sat beside Min Jae, the city blurring past the window, every street corner feeling like a possible ending. "You didn't tell me where we're going," she said. "No. You didn't tell me why." "I don't need to." She turned to him. "You're not protecting me anymore." His jaw tightened. "Yes, I am. You're protecting your decision." Silence fell. That one landed. They stopped at a building overlooking the water. High, isolated, too exposed for comfort. Amani stepped out, unease crawling up her spine. "This isn't safer," she said. "It's visible," Min Jae replied. "Visibility deters him. Or invites him." Min Jae didn't respond. That night, the city burned quietly. Not with fire. With choices. Darius made his move. Not at the building. Not at the convoy. At the past. Amani found the envelope on the bed. No name. No message. Just a photograph. Her breath caught. It was her mother. Recent. Taken without permission. Alive. For now. Her hands shook as Min Jae entered the room. He saw her face. Saw the photograph. The silence that followed was heavy enough to crush bone. "He found her," Amani whispered. Min Jae's eyes hardened, not with anger, but with something colder. "He crossed the wrong line." "No," Amani said, panic rising. "He crossed mine." She looked up at Min Jae, tears blurring her vision. "I'm done being the reason people die." Min Jae stepped toward her. "You won't go to him." "I will," she said. "Tonight." "You won't survive it." She met his gaze. "Neither will anyone else if I stay." For the first time since they met, Min Jae raised his voice. "No." The word echoed. Then he stopped himself. Lowered his tone. "You trust me," he said quietly. "I did," she replied. "Until protection started looking like ownership." The words cut deeper than any weapon. If you're still watching, don't look away now. Like the video, subscribe, and follow, because this is the moment where love, safety, and control become impossible to separate. And every path forward leads to loss. Min Jae stood alone after she left the room. For a long time. He had always known this was coming. He just hadn't known how much it would cost. That night, plans shifted. Lines blurred. Min Jae prepared for war, not because he wanted it, but because he could no longer imagine letting her go. Far across the city, Darius waited. Not impatient. Certain. He didn't know how it would end. Only that it would. And somewhere between protection and obsession, tragedy tightened its grip. Quietly, patiently, waiting for the moment it would hurt the most. What would you sacrifice to keep someone safe? Your power, your soul, or their life? If you're still here, now is the moment to commit. Like the video, subscribe, and follow, because the next choices don't just change the story. They seal its fate. Min Jae stood alone in the operations room, the city breathing beneath the windows like a living thing that didn't care who it crushed. He had made wars feel small before. Tonight, the room felt too narrow for what he was about to decide. Amani was gone. Not taken. Not stolen. Gone because she chose to leave. The guards hadn't stopped her. They hadn't been ordered to. That was the lie Min Jae told himself. Control disguised as restraint, restraint disguised as trust. He replayed the moment he let her walk past him, the way his jaw locked as if holding the city together depended on it. He lifted the phone and made the call he'd sworn he would never make again. "Clear the routes," he said. Quietly. A pause. Then, "Yes. Every one." He ended the call without explanation. There would be none. Amani rode in the back seat of a rideshare she'd paid for in cash, hood pulled low, eyes fixed on the reflection of her own face in the window. She looked calmer than she felt. That scared her. Calm had always meant she was too far gone to panic. She rehearsed what she would say when she saw Darius. Not pleas. Not apologies. Boundaries, even if they were illusions. She would trade herself for her mother's safety, and then she would survive whatever came next because she had learned how. The driver slowed. "End of the line," he said. Amani stepped out into a quiet street where the lights were too clean and the buildings too polished. Power lived here, wrapped in glass and silence. She walked. Darius didn't rise when she entered. He sat back in a leather chair, hands loose, expression almost kind. The room smelled like money and control. "You came," he said, pleased. "I'm here for my mother," Amani replied. Darius smiled. "Of course you are." She stayed standing. "You'll let her go." He tilted his head. "You're not asking. I'm offering," she said. "Me. No interference. No hiding." Darius studied her as if she were a familiar object returned after being misplaced. "And him?" he asked. "There is no him," Amani said. Darius's smile widened. "You're a bad liar." She held his gaze. "This ends tonight." He leaned forward, elbows on the desk. "Everything ends eventually." Min Jae's convoy moved through the city like a thought becoming inevitable. No sirens. No force. Just certainty. He watched the streets pass and felt something inside him hollow out. This was the part people never saw. Not the violence. Not the aftermath. The moment when the math stopped working. His phone buzzed. A location. Confirmed. He closed his eyes. "Turn," he said. The trade was supposed to be clean. Darius promised. He always did. Amani waited in the room where deals were finalized, hands folded, breath steady. When the door opened, she stood. Her mother was brought in first. Alive. Shaken. Real. Amani's knees nearly buckled. She held herself upright by will alone. Darius watched closely. "I keep my word." Amani swallowed. "Then we're done." He waved a hand. The guards released her mother. "Go," he said. "She's yours." Her mother stumbled toward her, confused, frightened. Amani wrapped her arms around her, grounding them both. For one perfect, dangerous second, it worked. Then the windows exploded. The room erupted into chaos. Glass raining down, alarms screaming, bodies colliding. Amani spun, shielding her mother, heart detonating in her chest. Gunfire cracked the air. Not wild. Precise. Min Jae's men moved like a tide, unstoppable, controlled. Darius cursed, rage flaring as he ducked behind the desk. Min Jae entered last. He didn't shout. Didn't run. He walked. His eyes found Amani instantly. Relief hit him so hard it nearly staggered him. "Amani," he said. She turned, shock freezing her in place. "You said you wouldn't." "I said you wouldn't be safe," he replied. Darius laughed from behind cover. "You brought war into my house." Min Jae didn't look at him. "You brought her into it." Everything happened too fast after that. Amani's mother screamed as someone pulled her away. Amani lunged forward instinctively, and that was the mistake. Darius moved. He always did when no one expected it. A shot rang out, deafening in the enclosed space. Amani felt the impact before the pain, a violent force knocking the air from her lungs. She fell, hands slipping, the world tilting into noise and light. Min Jae reached her in 3 steps. Time fractured. He dropped to his knees, hands pressing where the blood was already blooming dark and unstoppable. His breathing went shallow, fast, control shattering in real time. "No," he said. Not loud. Not dramatic. "No." Amani tried to speak. Nothing came out but a breath. Darius screamed orders. More shots. Someone dragged him away. Min-jae didn't move. He pressed harder, as if will could seal what had been opened. "Stay with me," he said, voice breaking for the first time. "You're safe. I'm here." Amani's eyes found his. She smiled. It was small, apologetic. That hurt more than anything. If you're still watching, stay. Like, subscribe and follow, because the next moments will make you believe in miracles. Just long enough to break your heart. The sirens arrived late. They always did. Amani was rushed through hallways and lights and shouting, Min-jae's hand never leaving hers. He spoke to her constantly, low and steady, anchoring her to the present with his voice. "You're doing well," he said. "You hear me? You're doing well." She squeezed his fingers once. Then again. Then her grip loosened. "No," he said softly. "Not yet." The doors closed between them. Min-jae stood in the corridor, hands stained red, breathing shallow, eyes fixed on nothing. He had won. He had lost. And he didn't yet understand which would destroy him. Outside, the city kept moving. Inside, the shape of tragedy settled into place. Quiet, patient, and almost merciful in how quickly it arrived. The waiting room smelled like antiseptic and quiet lies. Min-jae stood with his back to the wall, hands still stained a dark rust color no amount of wiping had removed. People passed him. Doctors, nurses, strangers who had no idea the city had almost burned because one woman refused to belong to anyone. He didn't look at them. He watched the door. Time stretched into something shapeless. Not minutes. Not hours. Just waiting, thin, unbearable, endless. When the surgeon finally came out, Min-jae knew before a word was spoken. Men like him learned to read rooms before language. The doctor removed his mask slowly. "We did everything we could." The sentence landed gently. Too gently. Min-jae nodded once, as if acknowledging a fact already accounted for. "Where is she?" he asked. The doctor hesitated. "She's stable. For now. For now." Min-jae closed his eyes. Amani woke to light. Not bright. Not harsh. Muted. Soft. Temporary. Her chest ached with every breath, but the pain felt distant, like it belonged to someone else. Machines hummed around her, steady and patient. Min-jae sat beside the bed. He didn't speak. He didn't move. He just watched her breathe, like each rise and fall was something fragile he might lose if he blinked. Her eyes found him slowly. She smiled. There it was again, that small, apologetic smile. "You look terrible," she whispered. He let out a breath that might have been a laugh if it hadn't cracked halfway through. "You're not supposed to talk." "I don't plan on listening," she said. He leaned closer. "You scared me." She reached for his hand. Her fingers were cold, weak, but deliberate. "I know," she said softly. "That wasn't fair." He shook his head. "You don't apologize for surviving." Her gaze drifted to the ceiling, then back to him. "I didn't survive," she said gently. "I delayed." The words settled between them like a bruise. Hours passed. Then more. Doctors came and went. Adjusted things. Spoke in careful tones. Offered hope without promises. Min-jae didn't leave. Not when his phone buzzed non-stop. Not when men asked for orders. Not when the city waited for him to decide what came next. For the first time in years, the world could burn without his permission. He stayed. At dusk, Amani's breathing changed. Min-jae noticed immediately. Shallower. Slower. Like the tide pulling back. "Amani," he said quietly. She turned her head toward him. Her eyes were glassy, unfocused, but she knew his voice. "I don't want you to do it," she whispered. "Do what?" he asked, though he already knew. "Burn everything," she said. For me. His jaw tightened. He doesn't get to walk away. That's not what I mean, she replied. I don't want my last act to be your excuse. He swallowed hard. You're not dying, he said. She smiled again. This time it hurt. If you're still watching, don't leave yet. Like the video. Subscribe. Stay. Because this is where the story stops trying to be kind. Later that night, Amani asked for her mother. Min-jae arranged it. She held her mother's hand weakly, whispered apologies for things she shouldn't have had to apologize for. Promised peace she wouldn't be there to enforce. Her mother cried quietly, like she didn't want to disturb the fragile moment. When she left, Amani looked at Min-jae again. You kept me safe, she said. He shook his head. I failed. No, she replied. You showed me what safety feels like. His chest tightened. Then stay. She exhaled slowly. I can't. The monitors began to change shortly after midnight. Not alarms. Warnings. The room filled quickly, doctors moving faster, voices overlapping, urgency rising like water in a sealed room. Min-jae was pushed back. He watched from the corner as they worked on her again, hands pressing, commands shouted, hope bleeding out in seconds. He had commanded armies with less chaos. This felt smaller, more final. Then one sound cut through everything. Flat. Unmistakable. A straight line. No one spoke at first. The doctor stepped forward slowly. I'm sorry. Min-jae nodded once. Just once. He didn't fall apart. He didn't scream. He walked to the bed and took her hand, still warm, still hers. You're safe now, he whispered. The words tasted wrong. Too late. The city expected war. They got silence. Min-jae disappeared for 3 days. No orders. No retaliation. No public reckoning. Darius waited. And waited. On the 4th night, Min-jae came alone. No convoy. No men. Just him. Darius laughed when he saw him. You lost, he said. All that power, and you still couldn't. Min-jae didn't let him finish. The shot was clean. Quiet. Not revenge. Closure. The aftermath didn't matter. News cycles moved on. Power shifted. Another man filled the vacuum. Min-jae stepped away from the city. From the underworld. From everything that had once defined him. He kept one thing. A folded photograph. Amani smiling. Not the apologetic smile. The real one. Months later, the harbor looked the same. Rain fell the same way. People passed without knowing what had been buried beneath the noise of the city. Min-jae stood at the water's edge, coat pulled tight, hands empty. He had promised safety, and learned too late that safety isn't a shield. It's a moment. A fragile one. The story didn't end with love. It ended with understanding. That sometimes, the safest place you ever find, is the one you don't get to stay in. If this story stayed with you, let it. Subscribe. Like. Follow. Not for comfort, but for stories that tell the truth even when it hurts.